Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the High Moving Podcast. So, NBA All-Star Game, absolute disaster. I talked about it last night. Just bad basketball, right? And this has been going on for the past few years, but it really was just overall a terrible game, right? Everybody just wanted to shoot threes, wide open layups, not even any fake type of defense was being played. So the NBA All-Star Game is almost a footnote compared to the other activities. I mean, the Celebrity All-Star Game with Micah Parsons and Puka Nacua, hooping, that was more entertaining than the actual All-Star Game, which was crazy, right? But another big issue with the All-Star Game is the game was supposed to start at 6 o'clock. I live out west, so it was 6 o'clock. West time is supposed to start 8 p.m. East Coast time for the East Coast fam out there, right? And the game, I tuned in around 6:15-ish just to skip some of the pageantry and all that other stuff. And the game didn't even start. I turned the TV on and I'm looking at Charles and, the broadcasters talking. I'm like, what? The game is supposed to start at 8 or 6 o'clock. And here we are 15 minutes in and no ball is tipped. Crazy. And even JJ Redick calls it out as he should, right? Nothing starts on time in the NBA and it's driving me crazy, right? What he specifically says is, why can't we start anything on time in the NBA? I'm going to sound like an old person here, but if it says 8 o'clock, I don't want it to tip off at 8:42. Redick complained. Nothing starts on time in the NBA and it's driving me crazy. And I work for the broadcast partner. Can we just start things on time in the NBA because it's out of control? Absolutely. Right? And for JJ Redick, I don't think it's about being, sounding old or anything. He has an excellent point, right? Like, what is up with the NBA being fashionably late, right? And the reason why they can be fashionably late is because they know that they have the Sunday slot. They're not competing anymore with football, okay? All racing events for the weekend were canceled. So the NBA has this big slot, this 6 p.m. slot, right, that they feel they can start the game basically almost an hour later. The NBA All-Star pageantry is ridiculous. They treat this like it's the Super Bowl, right? They treat this like they have to have performances and we got to hear from everybody prior and just this really long lineup call, all this stuff, and the game itself is trash, right? It's like the NBA NBA is still growing, right? What is it, the number 2 sport behind football in the country or behind college football? I'm not sure, right? But like, it's stuff like this where the NBA feels like they earned the right to be like this, right? No, they haven't earned the right to be fashionably late, especially considering the product we've gotten on the court the past few years, right? So, look, man, coming from JJ Redick, I hope it gets noted. I don't know, like, he's the first one. I mean, I'm sure people have complained, but he's the first, person who works for a broadcast partner to call this out as it should, right? The NBA, first of all, the whole All-Star weekend, All-Star event, okay, you have multiple days, okay, and then the game is supposed to be the ending, and not really any key highlights to take away from the game when the game is just terrible, right? Everything is leading up to the game, and then when it's come time for the game, tip off 6 o'clock. Everything should be done between 5 and 6 o'clock, and tip off should literally start at 6. If not, you want to give it an extra 10 minutes, 6:10, 6:15, right? Or 8:15, right? 8:42 is the time the game start. Yeah. I don't want tip off at 8:42, right? NBA is just like, listen, they make money that the NBA, there's no pressure for the NBA to generate revenue, right? They're going to have their contract expires, I think, after next season or whatever. So they're going to be in line for a big deal. We may see games on Amazon team. So NBA is not feeling any pressure, but JJ speaks for a lot of fans, right? And it's like, all like for the All-Star, people will tune out next year, right? Unless they do something dramatically different to make the playing style much better. Add incentives, make 3-on-3 basketball, do something. I don't want these dumb, these team captains where they pick players from both That's not going to work. The game is still going to look like that, right? If not, do away with the All-Star. and have G Leaguers play the game, right? You know, have top all-star players be coaches and let the G Leaguers play and give us a show, right? I'm okay with G Leaguers getting some airtime that we can see who that, and that's a good spot to see who's the top G Leaguers, and showcase them, right? Because if the NBA players are gonna play like this because nobody wants to get hurt or whatever, and they're starting late and all this other stuff, no interest whatsoever, man. So good for JJ Redick calling us out, man. Let me know if y'all did watch the game. If you did, what were your thoughts about it and everything, and JJ's comments about the late tip-off, man. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate all the support. I'm out.